Um, there's been probably 4,300 missiles in a little more than 12 hours come into Israel. Recently they did a barrage at Tel Aviv. I've been translating Gaza social media, and they said it was 150 rockets. It was probably at least 60 or 70 anyway. They had some hits. Israel has 200 dead and over 1,100 wounded. Gaza has a similar number, I think. It's about that. We've been bombing Gaza without the knock-knock warning before we hit a structure. So there's been deaths and injuries in Gaza. The Israeli electric company provides electricity to Gaza, and they recently cut the electricity off. And the Gazans, Hamas, have the nerve to go out in public and announce that this is going to cause problems for them with the hospitals having to go to generators. Now, they have abducted or kidnapped for hostage purposes babies, children, women, men, and very elderly people. They've abused them. They've defiled the bodies of dead Israeli soldiers. They say they have 100 hostages, but one of our generals told us that some of these hostages are fake. In other words, they're people that live in Gaza are acting like they're Israeli captives. So we're cautioned to be careful about that. But there's still many missing Israelis, and I'm sure the death toll will be much higher. The rockets attacks were slowed down for a few hours in the late afternoon and early evening, and then they have some intermittent barrages where, boom, they fire a lot over 5 or 10 minutes. They came into Israel in the morning by using bulldozers to knock down the Gaza fence. And there was about 1,000 Gaza, what they call special forces from Hamas, inside Israel. And they took over about 20 either buildings or settlements or kibbutzes. But they took 7 significant positions over. And we've regained most of it. We have captives, prisoners of war, you would say, from the Gaza military that are alive. And there's still some fighting in Sderot and another place, but the IDF will, it just take a little while. They'll overcome. They've barricaded themselves in buildings and houses with Israelis as hostages. Israelis locked themselves in their houses and they started burning the houses. And when the Israelis came out, they shot them or took them as hostages. And they ran them back to Gaza. A big fear is that they will transport them out of Gaza to other places like Lebanon or Iran or someplace like that. But that's not easily done. And I think that the IDF is watching for it. We have a full military mobilization up by the Lebanese border. There's UNIFIL soldiers, which is the UN peacekeepers that are supposed to make sure that the Hezbollah in Lebanon don't start shooting rockets at Israel. They have abandoned a lot of their positions, hidden in their bunkers, and some of the civilians have blocked the roads to stop them from getting to their locations. So the UNIFIL troops are proving to be relatively worthless. So Israel has soldiers, tanks, mobile artillery, infantry, armored personnel carriers, rocket launchers, mortars, the whole gamut up by the Lebanese-Israeli border. Um, I think it would be foolhardy for the Hezbollah to try to do a land push into Israel. They would just, I would say within the first 2 hours, 70% of them would be deceased or casualties, and the rest would be on the retreat if they even lasted 2 hours. We have been using Apache helicopter gunships to stop people from coming into Gaza with the machine guns they have. It's like a Gatling gun or a chain gun on their very accurate, computer radar controlled gun that fires probably about 3,000 rounds a minute. And our Navy successfully stopped 100% of the boats being launched from Gaza, which are basically fishing boats that they call the Hamas Navy. And we destroyed every single one of them before they ever hit the beach of Israel. Tel Aviv has taken a lot of rockets. People have gotten hurt. Buildings have been destroyed. And this is a red line with Israel. That's where the millionaires and the billionaires and the supporters of the government live, and this is a no-no, and they breached it. There's numerous videos of them mistreating their captive hostages, and several nations have been quite vocal about this. Biden told Netanyahu that he would give Netanyahu whatever Netanyahu wants, and they allocated $8 billion of weapons for Israel. Now, I don't know if that's money. I think they're going to give Israel actual weapons, and they're going to value it at the price of the weapons, my guess. Now, that would also mean America would give troops to Israel. And Israel's not asked for that yet, or they might. And this could be a trigger for Jeremiah 50:51, the daughter of Babylon. Biden can actually send troops to Israel to help Israel, and aircraft and reconnaissance planes and AWACS and missiles and who knows what else. And that would turn many countries against America. So you could have a trigger of more than just Zechariah 12 here. It could also be the daughter of Babylon trigger. We have to watch this unfold. If Lebanon is going to attack Israel, there's a few options, and they're pretty basic. They don't have an air force to speak of. They don't have very many tanks, and they're not of a sophisticated vintage. So what could they do? If they try to push into Israel by blowing up the fence and just storm over on motorcycles and cars and whatever, they're going to get mowed down. Our army is in place. It would be suicide. I mean, they may as well start screaming bonsai, They'd be running into machine guns, artillery, helicopter bullets. I mean, no chance. So their options would be they could take their substantial rocket and missile arsenal and start firing and hitting Israel in the major cities, in which case the threat level from Hezbollah and Lebanon is probably 10 times higher than Gaza. So Israel will be bombing them avidly, artillery attacking them avidly with mobile artillery, tanks, towed artillery, missile launches, and aircraft bombing, and Israel will push in to Lebanon, which is nothing new with us. And the game would probably be to push in about 25 miles to build the buffer zone, so the vast majority of rockets and missiles wouldn't be able to damage Israel. They may need to go more these days. They may need to go 35 or 40 miles. Israel will have to respond way, way, way more aggressively with Hezbollah than they did with Gaza. and we're already flying our fighter jets over Lebanon airspace to let them know that the response time is going to be in most likely under 30 seconds. So I don't know how bullheaded they are in Lebanon, but they're certainly not going to, if they do it, they're going to be in trouble. Now, the other option they could have is to take their missiles and rockets and train them on Israel on our side of the Lebanese border and try to destroy the tanks and armored personnel carriers, etc. If they do that, Israel basically has two options. One is to fall back or retreat and let aircraft and missiles do the job. The other option, which is probably the one they'll take, is to just roll into Lebanon. And it would be rather doubtful that Lebanon would train their missiles and rockets on Israel forces inside of Lebanon, because their stuff's not precision and they'll be killing their own people. So, to be honest, none of us really know, including the Israeli military, if Hezbollah is going to join in or not. We don't see any stirring in Syria or Jordan. I'm keeping my eye on Jordan based on Bible prophecy. So we're not seeing much other threat right now except coming from Lebanon and Gaza. Now, Egypt warned Israel, a soft warning, not to do a ground invasion of Gaza, which the Israeli government is dead bent on doing. The Israeli government has stated that they have to teach Gaza a serious lesson, to set an example to others and to stop them from wanting to do it again. And that's going to mean a ground invasion. It would basically be a demilitarization. We would probably go in with something like 50 or 100,000 soldiers, probably more like 25,000 and another 25,000 back up on the border or something like that. And a lot of armor and a lot of our commando units, and we would destroy all their tunnels, all their buildings, their computers, their uniform storage, their weapons and ammunition storage, their training facilities, everything they have. And then they would probably try to capture or kill several of the high-ranking Hamas officials, which would probably run out of Gaza and go into Egypt and then go someplace else. That'll probably happen after Israel has taken back all the control of the south from the 1,000 Hamas special forces, as they like to call them, that came in. That might take tonight and even tomorrow. So it might not be till Tuesday. When that's over with and Israel is secure and we don't have any war going with Lebanon, we'll invade Gaza on the ground and demilitarize Hamas, PIJ, and the other factions, destroy all their missiles and rockets and bullets and everything else. There'll be a high death toll from that on the side of Hamas. What else can I tell you that's going on? Israeli public is mad, very mad. There's a lot of people missing relatives. They're afraid they were taken hostage. That's basically where we're at. There's still a rather surprising flow of rockets. Nothing like it was, 12 hours ago or 14 hours ago, but it's intermittent, but they let loose with big volleys. They're trying to get other actors, countries to get involved and they're telling all the Israeli Arabs, Muslims to rise up against Israel. And there was 4 incidents in the West Bank, like Hebron and Nablus, and the terrorists were either captured or killed. Didn't get anywhere. So the country's on full security alert. They're trying to form what's called a unity government now. And it looks like that's something they're going to do. So there's not going to be any political disputes. This government will just push on to destroy the enemy, and then it'll probably revert back to where it was, or maybe not. I don't know. Saudi Arabia said that the war is our fault, as did Iran. So the normalization of relations with Saudi Arabia is pretty much off the table. Ukraine offered to send soldiers in and help us. That hasn't gone anywhere. The Taliban said that if the surrounding Arab states allow them to travel from Afghanistan, they'll come and conquer Jerusalem. I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think they'll even get close to Jerusalem. We currently don't see any threat coming from Jordan, Syria, or Iraq, but Egypt's making noises, and when you study prophecy, Egypt will be fighting against Israel. And they run away, they get pretty scared. So that's about it. I'm doing very deep, constant coverage, or almost constant, of the war on my Telegram channel. If you want a link for my Telegram channel, send me an email. My email is israelgiving7@gmail.com. israelgiving7@gmail.com. That email address is also found on the lowest line down in my in the description box of the video. If you want to learn a lot more about Bible prophecy and see other videos of the war, go to my channel on YouTube, but the videos are not in the video section, they're in the live section. You'll see those words across the screen. You go into live, that's where all my videos are, because they're live streams. This thing is far from over. It's going to escalate when we do the ground invasion. And if Biden's behind Israel, we don't... Now, when you hear these bells going off here, that's another rocket coming in from Gaza. That's 2. See, you're hearing it live now. And they keep coming. So they're doing another barrage. So then the IDF pinpoints the location, GPS's it, and bombs it. And that's how it's going. So basically, you've got a pretty good understanding of what's going on now. It's going to be pretty tricky for Israel to get the hostages back that are in Gaza and also in Israel. They're barricaded in buildings and houses with Israeli citizens as hostages, and they're trying to effect a prison swap, which should probably be something like, we'll give you 100 hostages and you give us 3,000 or 4,000 of the terrorists in prison in Israel. And Netanyahu's not taking that seriously. How does that work? Oh, here, we'll get buses and bring 4,000 prisoners to Gaza. And they'll say, great, when we have them in Gaza, we'll release your hostages. And we're going to trust them, right? See what I'm saying? So make sure you're subscribed. I'll be doing updates constantly as long as this is going on. And it looks like it'll be at least a week. And that's without Lebanon getting into it and without Jordan getting into it and so forth. Okay, that's what I've got for now. The updates on Telegram are huge and steady stream. And if you want to follow the war from somebody in Israel, that's where you should be. I do put some videos up on YouTube, and I will continue to do so. So make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell so you get notified when I come on. That's it for now. I'm out.